So my dad killed himself when I was 5 years old. And my mom had already gone away when I was 3. So she went into an mental institution when I was 3. And I've really not really seen her since. I don't know if she's alive or dead. Um, so needless to say that for many, 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 many years, my dad's death was the cause of like severe pain in me, like severe pain. He was the only person that I could remember from my childhood that actually loved me. Like, and I held on to the memory of his love for like, I mean, I still hold on to the memory of his love, but it was like what I held on to it as I was going through so much trauma. And then of course, when someone commits suicide, it leaves 1,000 more questions than answers, right? Like why? But it caused so much heartache and so much pain. And it didn't really matter like how much therapy I actually did. I'm just adjusting the camera because I did a lot of therapy. The pain and the sorrow and the questions, like it just never, ever stopped, ever. So at 28 years old, I was still in a ton of pain and I had been drinking a lot and I put myself into rehab. And after that, I started down a healing path. And I was working with an EMDR therapist, maybe like around 31-ish. For me, I know a lot of people love EMDR. For me, it just wasn't deep enough. Like it helped, but it wasn't deep enough. Like it didn't go deep enough for me. And I knew that I couldn't talk about my trauma anymore. And in EMDR, you don't really talk about it. You do and you don't, but I needed something on a soul level. Like I needed something deep and I knew that. So I started working with a shamanic practitioner. And the day that we worked on my dad's death was the day literally my life changed. Sorry, there's a squeaky toy with a dog in the background, so we'll work through it. It literally changed my life. So I shared with her the story. My dad killed himself at home. I was not in the house, but my older sister and my younger brother were. The reason I wasn't there is probably another video, but it's a very interesting story, so to speak, but he did. And my little brother and my sister almost died when he died. So, cause he did it with carbon monoxide and the car was running for hours in the middle of the night. So I was telling this shamanic practitioner my story. She's like, okay, we're going to go in. And so she did this, and I learned how to do this therapy later. It was like a combination of hypnosis and shamanism and Buddhism and energy medicine. And I still do this type of therapy when I work with people one-on-one. So we went in and we did what was called a soul retrieval. Now you may have heard of this before. A soul retrieval is a shamanic term that the shamans believe that when we go through trauma or upset, it's like a piece of our soul gets stuck or left behind. So thinking of someone with PTSD, like a soldier or something, when they hear a loud noise, they're back on the battlefield. They believe that we're stuck in time. And in order to truly heal, right, let's use the example of the soldier, we need to go back in a regression, in hypnosis, in meditation, through soul work, and do a healing on that part that's stuck, and then eventually integrate that part with the whole. So what did the healing for me is we did a regression, a meditation, a shamanic soul retrieval back to the little girl, my 5-year-old little girl when my dad died. Now, traditionally shamans, they do the work themselves. That's my understanding. Like I've rarely done soul retrievals for other people, but traditionally the shaman does it. Like they are the ones that go into the trance and they go and they find the soul retrievals, and there's different techniques. Like sometimes they'll blow it into your back or blow it into your crown, and there's different techniques of like integrating the soul part, but they're doing the work while you're like the passive receiver, right? But the way I learned and the way I went through it and the way I go through, do it with people is I guide people to do it themselves. because I have found that it's way more powerful. That's just my, maybe the other way may be really powerful for some, but for me, being able to experience it on my own. And then when I've led people to do it on their own, they're able to experience it. So I went and I found my little girl. She was 5 years old. She had just found out that her dad died, and she was on the bed. This is my little girl. She was on the bed, and her heart was broken into a million little pieces. And I sat with her with my guides, and we had a talk. And she was so scared. And the guides did a healing on her, and she was holding these like little stuffed animals. And I said to her, would you like to come home now? Meaning with me, like back home to me. And we took her out of there, and we took her and we did some healing work. I believe we did some healing work around the fire. It was like 20 years ago. Anyway, she ended up coming home with me and ended up integrating with me. And that was it. That was it for me. I don't even know if I'm sad when I tell the story, because it's sad, right? And I feel it, but it's a different kind of feeling. It's like, I'm not run by the grief. I am completely 100% at peace with my dad's death. That haunted me, literally, for years. So the power of a soul retrieval is such a beautiful practice. And I have seen people I've worked with heal, like, the parts of themselves that had been abused by other people, or been in an accident, or stuck in some sort of trauma with a teacher. And then they do this beautiful retrieval of the soul and bring the soul back home. And it's like, yeah, that's it. I'm whole now. Or I'm at least more whole than I was an hour ago. And now I know the power of knowing that when I'm fragmented and I bring my soul back with the support of my guidance and my guides and God, that this is the path toward healing. It's really powerful. So I wanted to share that with you, because if you have any feeling that there's a part of you stuck in time, find someone that can support you with it. Sit with it. And if you're like, I just want to talk to it, talk to that part. See how that part's doing. I love you. I see you. Because sometimes we don't even know that there's a part that's actually, not integrated with the whole self. And you can literally just start saying I love you. I see you. I'm so sorry I ignored you for so long. Sorry that you hid behind the couch. Can I have your hand? Right? You could talk to that part and begin to acknowledge. It does wonders. We're very layered beings. We're very complicated beings. And this doesn't have to be a soul retrieval is not for something as traumatic as what I went through, or someone who's going through war. I've seen soul retrievals range from an interaction with a teacher to a car accident to a surgery. I mean, it's just, you'll know if there's a part of you that if you don't feel whole, right? So just sit with it. And this is part of the deeper work that we're in as we move into this next phase of human consciousness, which we are in right now. So doing your inner work, doing your spiritual warrior work, so that we can become at peace and not be run by our past trauma. Now, I'll say one more thing before I'll end. I talk a lot about really leaving your past behind, being present in your future. Being powerful in your present. But I also know and recognize that there is some work out there on the self that you can't talk yourself out of. That you can't be well, I'm just gonna leave it all behind. No, working through it, not ignoring it, not allowing it to, not pushing it to the side, getting support, working with a practitioner, a therapist, a coach, whatever it is, getting in a community. Because I know there's some things you can't just, say a bunch of affirmations and it's going to go away. But just ignoring it doesn't help either. So anyway, yes. Do to the deep work. All right. My name is Beth Osmer, and I will see you on the next video. If I can find the button. It's hidden. Hang tight.